the law says. Uniamano yebechichemu into 16 parts. Baku 16. Say yechemu into 16 parts after the first estate, the dwelling house ye no frame and yebechemu into 16. Say yechemu into 16 Mrani chere say yedi 3/16 bema uyire na se meka yire enye oba the law uses the word spouse, surviving spouse. And it's obema na wewu 3/16 beko ni yire nchen. So basu na wewu 3/16 beko ni kunu nchen. So the 3/16 ma uyire anasa ukunu a. Yedi 9/16 yedi bema uma. So 9/16 will be shared among all your children. Woman now umeche 9/16 say then that single child no obefa 9/16. Instead the 3/16 Emma will hear and now connect 9/16 ama uma. Yet the 2/16 say who parents they are still alive. Yebema 2/16 of the residue of the estate. Yebema 2/16. 32/16 more. The last 2/16 no. Yebefa amamra kwan so they are checking every customary law no. So the remaining 2/16 no, we will share it in accordance with customary law. Yebefa say who parents on way free more. And the yebe you see 4/16 and now 1/4 of your property no. Yebe share in accordance with customary law. It is a one draw wheel. This is how your property will be shared. That is how the law says under PNDC law 111. After that, Mamintia so very, very quickly now. Mimbani say, Yemfani say, to see our watch your will. So I will take my time. Now, I will educate people. Nienti was a will. Why should you write a will? Wow. And very important point number 1, say about the wills are. So ultra will nature say, yeah, you still PNDC law 111 no. Yeah, fa enu enche property. Also my shame how PNDC law 111 it's bia property no who say yeah fa ni nyina ma we. You can write a will for that. And see the very first benefit of writing a will, they say the will ensures that your wishes are followed. Your wishes, they are followed. Sometimes in your qualifying kakra, your lawful wishes are followed. Will no emma point near upe say how you want to share your property, no? Will no mahun point so that you share all according to your own wishes. But say one sure will let's say government, mrana government ashisha to one and no and I check with properties amount. And see, obibia anybody that you want to ensure that your properties are shared how you want it to be, And we here pass overthrow will. And mami can be interim kakra. In my few years of practice as a lawyer, I've had the opportunity to mature will a few people. I've written wills for quite a number of people. Now, the overthrow will a month for 4. You'd be surprised. One kasa omuche property the way they want. To be what say, lawyer, when it be. Store no mpese store no mfama we mpese asase na eda mi fie nim no yemfama we me bank account no mpese yemfama we obi kra chiche ne niama otmi chese ntuma we wan say me wo kente bi wo kente no design eda mu no ginyame mpese sa ginyame kente ne yemfama we pepe. You see, the will allows you to share your properties in accordance with your own wishes. And it's about the will obi bia once who sweating for property and you be an obama who sweating snow tokra who ejuma eba, you are going up and down. One ubre for your property. So why will you sit back and allow government not share property same out? I believe say you sweated for your property. So at least you have a right to ensure say your properties are shared the way you want them to be shared. Now say sana opa and the win ya pa say ubetro will. Near friend the last will and testament, the win ya pass ubetro will. And see, this is one of the first benefits of writing a will. Say, your properties are shared in accordance with your wishes. Send a open no sa pepe and ye chow property ma obi wo hokra otmi chere o chere so me pese ye we ma me pese mfa we ma we pese nkoda we asema me ne nyina e betun ya share will mu ama and it is so important to write a will. And I'm making point number 2, so very, very quick. Point number 2, as a lawyer, no, they only hear me, pa. Number 2, they say, writing a will reduces family dispute. Which will in Tokwa AC, the only one who say you reduce it drastically by writing a will. And as a Oshesena in Tokwa AC over property. Especially more property pa obi wo wa bobra o na me aye na dom we see fie be say 7 our companies our say ni say the sani pani free na willing da ho a ubehu ana ntokpesi you see people fighting over properties. So I always tell parents say if you want to avoid all of these disputes up and down in Tokwa when you wait court not long ago I did one case. Some of them are siblings fighting over property. Fighting. Our property. If you want to reduce family dispute, throw will. Who throw will? Who will no watch say? We will cast 3. Tundra no pesa yen fama adwoa. Intokwa bia nsi e bia tundra na esi ono adwoa pe. Kofi so pesa tundra no. Usha ama so pe tundra. But what trouble we almost said tundra no it minimizes the dispute. Well, I'm very passionate about it. Yes, me a lawyer, me say I'm paid, says but we don't enjoy these things. I tell people say, what bobra, we see fear what to turn yama, and one of the important ways of doing this is that will. And a will ensures that we reduce family disputes. We won't hear reduce family disputes. Not long ago, me a case be man say obi throw will na ochiche ni amano wa mo bibi. One money pani bi no bibi wo ho so officer he's entitled to it. But one say so what state be bia wo will mu. Say nipa no cra person cause trouble they are not successful. Nipa na me say or call courts up and down. But you because Nipano wire will and the will no you follow run pepe na area will no. Into your court so you can be a court and yam into Miss Slow. So now we call by a Bray. Miss Slow be said do well and then write a will. This is point number 2. I mean point number 3, maybe 3 and 4. So maybe 3 and 4. Maybe 1 point be the count. Then I can open up and take some few questions before I come back. The third point is that when it comes to writing wills, don't show will. You make it possible, say. Sometimes your properties, friends can benefit from your property. Charities can benefit from your properties. Other loved ones can all benefit from your property. You can allow friends to benefit from your estate. So one draw wheeler, the friend will not benefit from your estate. Obi waha wa we ye pa wa brabom. Opesa unche so that mini wa would mesika no de 500 pounds krana enfa mano. Who draw wheeler, you can make provision for all of these things in your will. So one draw wheeler, nature say your property is in the air. It is just your spouse, your children, and I say your parents, and under customary law, those are the people who will benefit from your estate. But so open say, obi wa ha open say, oh, that she mean what me say yen skabi na infama presby asafono. No say presby asafono abua mi ye pa Methodist asafo abua mi ye pa. Sometimes they are charities you want to be of help to them. We can make provision for when you now will. But me actually will say that actually meaning one say you need £1,000. Now if I come up press yes of where don't go from Ghana, they say you £1,000 from my estate. Now you from Bua Nyami Juma Ewo. You can do all of these things, but the one show will all of these people cannot benefit from your estate. And to way point number 3, where here a pa write a will, share the properties how you want all your properties to be shared. Now, I mean, for point number 4 count very quickly. Point number 4 count, I will quickly take some few questions after that. Point number 4 is a cultural will. It simplifies the sharing of your property. It makes it easy. It makes it especially more more properties be brave. Who company be or US, who will be or German, who will be or Ghana. The more estates you have, it's incumbent on you, say, Uber will. There's something else, maybe another time, say, I'll talk about trust, but and then I won't talk about trust. And then the focus is on wills and then into so will you simplify the process of sharing your property. Your will now, sometimes I sure will or should be or person nipa emphasize shoe name will. So the process of sharing properties, it becomes simplified. So draw will. Into we here pass obi bia nyame aye wa doma wo properties no to me actual will, and then you simplify the process of sharing your properties. Into Nana, let me add 2 more points, then I can take some few questions from this thing. Okay. Maybe what we can say, okay, so natural will, yeah, it means to some will and yes, you can change your will. Send a will, you know, to me actual will this year. Next year, I'll bet me as a son. You can change your will at any time at all. Yeah, funny say, which will no, we fear now we see what easily go no, would the ama oba kofi. But after a while, we see we feel me person me fama kofi dio, me person me fa fear we ma ama. You can always make changes to your will. Sometimes it's only change just a little thing in your will. Your baby friend a codicil. We'll just prepare a codicil and file it. Sometimes we prepare an entirely new will. Now the way our wills, in law, your friend said wills they are ambulatory. And he say a will, the will takes effect upon your death. Until we are will and that we are be ochna, near we are ochna no. That is your will. It will cancel near we are and then until will there, you can always make changes to your will. Now, sometimes with me your will more be after a while, any panel boss you send a mix chair near mano. But say me making some little changes here and there. You can always make changes to your will. Until which your will this year, next year, whatever you have put in your will. Into wills you can always make changes to it. Let me also give this quick point. So which your wills are near my media show wills mono. Near your friend is self-acquired property. Self-acquired property. You see self-acquired property. Want to mean to check a property. It is not your personal property. Everyone say we are bushia penny. Property na it is family property. You can't use your personal will to share. And it's all your wills are what we focus on is self-acquired property. Properties are one kasawodia, things that belong to you. And no and I'll bet me will. Now they actually check all of these other things. No. Intinana, my name is me see her. Say your questions are, then I'll come back and do the second part on this. Then I ask and I thank you so much.
Yo, lawyer, me that's it. Me you say me nkwa and me what questions. Me a man for be bra what call you so and then enumerate our questions. Or more personal experience and so on be share the amayen. Now, lawyer, me question edi kai person me busa say at what point one can make a will?
Okay, then me that's the power. That is a very good question. So we share the laws are Ghana Siciano. Once you are 18 years, you can make a will. So any person from age 18 over to me, I will. We make some exceptions for military people who are in active service. We lower the age for them, but generally, from age 18, you can make a will from age 18.
Yo, abusia for sabre ebra wonso or any question be a wonso betimi amounts as so zoom no so amounts as so me found now the question about or share our Facebook, YouTube so all the question at the comment section on my making kind at the amount. And as I war a zoom no so na the to chat room on my and also no making kind ama lawyer and so a year no at the amount. Anything yanko na yemfa ma Lizzie emfa indica. Ma Lizzie mpacho ye tio and you
abusuafo metua mo lawyer patwa me question na mienu ba ko wo se nanka onipa no opeso ode dan ne ma kofi no osesa na adwen so ode be mama okay bia bibi sa no wo be hu so aye wo ni wo achi no na aye abusuama nso wo mu se on kancho bia so aye se you but the way we distribute na aye no mani binti ase Nenti and also a quadru court. So in this case, why will so still benefited bia the man. Okay, what do you do about this? And secondly, Sebia ya wa kwentum na ya wo fo ayempanyin fo e wo fie. Na sebeya enipa ni nya fi mu pe na afi abusuafo peso omo ye ne den ma mofra na wa kwentum. Nti so ye wala na normally say we share film near dia wo ye reading or after nya film nko they say no in say well after ye na wie ne kan well say bia nipa ne pe say o hihye ne ma bi tutu ho say me de mi wu a mpese ne amema ne beka no na monye mamia san how would the family know na nko ye say just ye we ansa ne read well me da say
Malizi, that's a power for your question. Let me answer second question very quickly. Every time you make a will, some of these questions come up. Obi was you send me what per se. Me man ain't see me. If you come to the laws in Ghana, and the law is clear. Then Obi what the body belongs to the family. The body is for the family. And the wishes of the near family no betray and the customary law no body no busia dia. Enti wo ankasa wontumi nkyerɛ na wopɛ sɛ yɛnsie wo mfa. So those are matters. Sometimes me a lawyer me throw will. Sometimes I write will obi wɔ house o. Pɛ sɛ me wo a ɛyie no me mpɛ way keeping. Me mpɛ way keeping bia me yi ase no antemansa mpɛ sɛ me mpɛ sɛ ɔbɛba me yi ase. Ɔne me yɛ ntɔkwa bi a me mpɛ sɛ me or me mpɛ sɛ ɔbɛhu me funu koraa. What I tell all those people is that so those ones are there. You can't enforce them because we body body no. So it's the family that will determine how you will be buried. But sometimes no, we will show you respect. Ebusiano show you respect so that your wishes concerning your body no, they will want to follow it. But and yet by force, it's not mandatory because the body belongs to the family. Most of the time, say wills are in relation to properties. Yes, sometimes we can talk about some few things about your funeral here and there, but those ones it's not mandatory. The family can decide to follow or not to follow. Until is it Midasepa. And your first question is about Obi Awaya will in Kofuako court. Yes, sometimes in Kofuya will or your will maybe send a teacher in Yamano and you're obedient. I always tell people say Obi be oye will no na won't na se but onu onim near oye mature will ama obi papa bi mature will ma most of the mature will maybe say also ima hin na wo mature mu nya omu din o share property mu say ni baba ku bi wo ha one man hwe nti me ka chen say oh daddy misre wo ba we one man hwe man bibi kakra say lawyer me man bibia no ka kire won o kire me ne nti say me yare no wan fa order me man hwe me say o daddy we dey misrew we dey man bibi ka go say lawyer property no wo dia na say me dia me property me say me man hwe nti sometimes no you will never understand you think say nipa na wa throw will no won't na say but ono on name ni enti o throw will this nti will there enye say be ye obi ade sometimes wills are read some people are not happy at all. But those are the express wishes of the of the person. Those are his secret wishes. As much as possible, we try to ensure that we carry out the wishes of the person. It is obi wo ha enye ni da. Otumi course. But say will no, it's been properly done and there's nothing unlawful about it. You will not be able to set it aside. Until you see me that sepa. Nana.
Yo, lawyer. You better say, Afi and our join here, yani lawyer Richmond Korley and education and come about wills. And you may say, oh, any question be na opesa de ma lawyer so so call no so zoom no so me foul na o de question about me oba ku mi no bi enso lawyer we ebusa say we PNDC law na it didn't take into account memo am worry mienu no miensa ene ade nti obi busa wa ha se so se ba se onipa na wa worry mienu miensa na owu a eno no sen ena japade no ebeko asiafa.
Okay, in practice no what happens is that there is more than one spouse they all near your spouse and the infant say the 3/69 channel, it goes to all the spouses. A chamom. And the infant says that if you any all the spouses, all the children, they are all entitled to it. And it's also pianist or 111. Over who say I use the word surviving spouse, over who spouse, a spouse. Yes, it is singular. But say nipano or year more than one. Near I was say young farmer or year back when you chema or munina. And maybe at another time, no, maybe we'll talk about marriage, because we are very I'm a spouse. One day you be shocked that you are not a spouse. I tell people say, you're bound that who a spouse is it's a legal thing. And yes, only the panel trim also meaning what binding. No, when they were banned and don't tell us we are here. Who bet me will be our back on year. And he said that she be ni panel and niho. Na ye chichen and near I was a young farmer a year no. Ye the ma obia under the law no, you are a wife. As I share there are different ways of marriage. Ordinance or customary marriage or your Mohammedan's marriage. And then your marriage. But if you qualify as a spouse, you should be a spouse. Don't think you are a spouse. Don't think that only people banning we are Nigerian. No. There's a legal definition of who a spouse is. Now, I think one of the things that we are noticing is also be or where you be a warrior. Omako court, Omako signing of court, and I say, we are sorry, them the friend marriage under the ordinance. No, sometimes our there's no divorce. But who are only be fufro esheho, only be fufro sheho. Sometimes only sheho samu or mammy no means in the sunny panel chess or the instant echo me fee in the instant call me fee the after them yenny. So Shagana Mrana. Once I will worry under the ordinance, no, to me for Barbie and Countbio. If you marry under the ordinance, you can't add on. If you watch ordinance marriage, one man, one woman, your friend monogamous marriage. And it's a obi waha wa worry, was sorry the man say court wedding. Now on in the year, omunko try mu e court here. On to me ko your Barbie and wadi. So or try so best I deny your friend of bigamy is a crime. Ubet me a prison for bigamy. Inti inko be movie so mu ye every a winning bema bin shell. Bema no or ye be a worry no. Munko sign wa court and I say only now mu worry was sorry them. Munko ye divorce but only now only would net. So na ye chiche property you don't qualify as a wife. Near ni na only no. In the eyes of the Lord, or no any year, into near also in family year, no, get the Bema, I know. It has a panana.
Lawyer, well, area and I say angle beer, I think say a very interesting pass, ye peda na ye share marriage under the eyes of the law. Is and say, ye can't say ye were customary marriage. You could who busia for near ye. Sa nipakuo ya san ekọ court esa akoye aware foforo enso court enti mi busa se ni omo akwakoye court eni ni omo ye ofie no de ye hin na ya aware no enye ne yes divert ye be peda ni edi san komo lawyer Empokura mami se mbusa we. Obi no obi twempena. Obi no obi twempena. Na during that courtship no, onipa ko no acquire property. No mu jaya. Oba no ewo any share na obema no ewo any share of this property.
Now me da say pa. Also, in Penatry and Yawari, I'm very clear on this thing because there are several ethnicity here. There's the Ade more be or year. Now you're Marabia echo by Ampasi, a friend spousal property bill, but it didn't go through. And see, in Penatry and Yawari, and say the baby ma obi or year. We will ensure, say, under the law, do you qualify as a wife? If you don't qualify as a wife, no, why will we give you what should be given to a wife? It's in Penatry and yet our real. So only will be trim plan. This is free advice. Now more top property. If you are contributing to the property, make sure say within a one crata so that is it. When you will be trim plan, now say you got third dime, your mortgage be your mortgage be another be and making sure say within a one crata so. Make sure say within a was so and we here and I say.
Me that's a lawyer. Obi busa say na we no cry and say okaso wo ya ne cost no ya he. And I say ana saying it here.
Okay, and for the cost of a will, no, we don't have a standard charge for will. Most of the time, it depends on the size of the estate. It depends on the properties. And say, oh, yeah, will I am say, 5,000 Ghana, not 10,000 Ghana. It doesn't work like that. Most of the time, the lawyer better will amawa. We look at all the property. We look at the size of the will and then how complex the will is. You know, maybe a friend is simple will. Maybe if you be or the money in the that's straightforward. A simple will. The charge is lesser. Your wills be so very complex. Will be in their will, no, they are shares here. We will have, and see, wills, no, we don't have fixed charge. In fact, it's a this will I charge for will in Ghana. Most lawyers who call her, they will take instructions and then they will give you an invoice after they have taken instructions. Me that's the part.
Yo, John. We dear senka me mean so me a law student Kameka say o question me Kameka say my learned colleague because this question I can tell say John legal brain man. Yo lawyer my main king came out una obetia said John are putting on me mentiase. I say please what is the equivalent of lasting powers of attorney in finance, welfare, LPA to the Ghanaian law of estate administration of living but incapacitated people. Where's the baby free bano? A branch no obey a law student and also a lawyer.
Okay, Nana, me share very quickly on the questions. No, social power of attorney. I didn't get a full question. Social power of attorney. Sometimes I'm clear on it. Say, obi ma power of attorney. Let's just say, nipa na ma utumi say obi jina ho amano. Now powers of attorney no. Say nipa ni wuwa. Once that ewa mrano your friend on your power of attorney your friend do know the power. Say do know no wuwa. And I said near Oma utumi the do know the power. So wuwa na power of attorney no. And also a free hop. Powers of power of attorney, it does not go beyond death. That is the difference. Once the social wills will take effect after your death. Once you are alive, the will doesn't take effect. People will say, "Oh, me who say me papa will no, but the fear we are mommy. Until the fear we are mommy, me fear ubwa." It only becomes your own after your father's death because near what papa throw the will be amono or to miss son at any time. Some people may change their wills a week to their time of death. Nani pana kwesisani will. But also power of attorney from question now channel. So beyond our power of attorney, generally no power of attorney is any panel or power. And so the power is also gone after the person's death. That is what I get. I didn't get the full question, but that is what happens to power of attorney. Anybody who are not power no at atrium echo. Me that's it.
May I say, John, if you need further clarification, just maunsaso na yemfa na ode clarification na uhia no ediaba. Yemfa Frank ewa hanso. Frank, mbacho yetio for question, bra.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My question is straightforward. Fanny said, "Oh, and I say, not in Sassi now to toy, you know. Oh, yeah, no, Mr. Menu and children. But we see estate be our starting project, no. Not Bama will be foul unexpectedly. The fact say we are no Mr. Menu and children, no. A bushing of one children about the pre home, and I say children's bit me rise, say, I will moja paddy. Even the 1 year old. But on the document, no, Indenture and Lands Commission or Bebiano, Mr. Menu and children and a war. In that case, no. So Bema will be found unexpectedly. Now, near Wella, and Colano, claim ownership and access to Lano, PNDC law, no beche, I'm a bush and phone should be.
Okay. If Frank made as a par, property where it's quite strange to me, Mr. Menu and children. What we normally see is a joint property. What we normally see is you put the names of all the other joint owners. No, I've hardly seen Mr. Way and children. But generally, say maybe an MBA can be about gift intervivals. Say Emira who work while you are alive, no, would the property ma obi, you gift the property while you are alive. It is not part of your estate. Because once Woody Ama Obinian is a property, no Woody Asha Umadi Mudada. So the property Asha Umadi Mua, it is not part of your estate. Unless who wouldn't come, let's say we share now a woman no and no beba into your estate. And in some of these documents, it's how they are also drafted. Sometimes it's a lawyer's here draftee lease agreement, and I say, as I say, there will be a friend joint tenancy in common. And it's any amani. So far, maybe to say there is joint ownership. There's near friend right of survivorship. I just say, Bakunwa near Otias and Ofani na. But say tenants in common. Let's just say we were 50. Into way the end, can't wait the end. And some of these things, so it is how documents now, drafted documents. But some person property, Emma Uma Inkwa, put their names on the indenture, put their names there. Umani Etrea, Bakunye, Arabai, Jua, Isiama, put their names on the document. That one will be more effective. Now, so your mom while you are alive, it is not part of your estate. Once I would your mom, if any gift intervivals, if say with your mom, you gifted them the property while you are alive. Once you have gifted the property, that is it. The danger with gift intervivals, maybe an MBA, make up quickly about gift intervivals. The way I would to me say will at any time. Would me say why drink, what's your way me the marcos, me for marcos, me percent me for marjoa. Gift intervivals, we hear document now the more be a to me say why drink. Once you gifted the property, won't mean say me call J the amount way view. So those are the things with gift intervivals. But once I would hear who are Sabi, who person from Mauma, and therefore Omudin and Kratano. So the Omudin and Kratana, some property, it is not part of your estate again. Frank, me that's a
Yanko a year bright and so a honomo. Bright, but your yeti on you,
Yo, no, I mean that's it. But my question is, after say why we know, where are the possible places ubetimu keep away no? And I say be our microphone on my bed to more copy and I say send a see no document, That's it.
Okay, Bryce, me that's a normally say lawyer, your will mawa. Most of the time, we prepare wills we prepare them in 3 copies. Say your will now, you 3 copies. We are the bakun echo 2 high courts. Into a copy of the will echo high court. The lawyers you keep a copy of the will. na yɛde baako so ama na wode akɔto wo nneɛma mu wɔ fie nti wills in the most advanced will no the best place to keep it is it should be kept in the court nti once our lawyer hear will mawa we deposit the will at the high court now near at the high court no any the original copy that BBC that chair copy na ebe kind no a copy na at the court and no and I bet me they will break the seal after your death no more king kind won't be a chair with Musia for say king kind more then they will take steps to apply for probate no matter properties no then they do vesting assets maybe be a into wills no they are normally kept at the high court say a will Ghana have that's it.
Okay, that's
Yo, lawyer, how are wills different from letters of administration?
We a very good question. They are. It's a very good question. So we share letters of administration. Also, I share Bibi Musa. Once you die intestate, so be who intestate. I share Musa nipa 1 year will. So if you die without a will, the administrators of your estates documents someone apply from the court. So your friend letters of administration. As our letters of administration, Emma Omutumi said, Omube chiche property in accordance with the law. Now, once a war Ghana, you die intestate, after they've applied for letters of administration, your friend Elena, Ombe you see PNDC law 111, nobody a chiche properties in now. Omuchiche no we are, then they will do vesting asset for properties in now. Letters of administration, it refers to be a we will intestate, nipa 1 year will. So be a will, what we apply for is called probate. We apply for probate, the nipa year will. Sometimes obi wo hokra or year will. But the executors now, omo will no. Maybe under time I would run you through the will making process. How are wills made? And I me take questions we are let me practically make sure we send a wills. The year will I will be a friend you appointee executors. And I appointee a sole executor. Sebani say at the time uni hono executor no so and as executor no person be koye probator. Yet me koye letters of administration with will annexed. And that is the difference between letters of administration. Letters of administration mainly refers to be a will 1 year will. So we will most of the time we apply for probate, but sometimes we can also apply for early with will annexed. Then I mean that's a part.
Yo, obi busa say e ka personal property eno ene den personal property.
Then I mean that's a part. Say personal property most of the time a property would and the test of personal properties means that they are properties that during your lifetime you could have sold them during your lifetime. Things you were entitled to during your lifetime. And things that you could have alienated while you were alive. And the personal property, your family said, you are head of family. Ebusian ewa asase. Ebusian asase no. Eno enye o personal property. Ni enti o se o se ebusian asase na bitimi ton no. You can't sell alone. Head of family no nkwa ntumi ton family property. The head of family is or ton family property or ton property no. Ewo mramo no yesi with the consent and concurrence of the principal members of the family. In the personal property, in the property, things you can alienate while you are alive. That is a distinction between personal property and family property. And it's how you're wheeler. You do wills on what we call self-applied property. And I mean that's it.
Yo, Mami Fa Cecilia na afe masan ababefa questions ni bi ewo chat room hono ene enwumre. Ma Cecilia mpacho mema adwomo akwaba.
Yeah, good evening, Nana. Lawyer Edasi. But my question is say nipa ne ya will na family member be ni both extended family and ne yire ne maso family no. Obi anya we na nipa ni wu a. Say lawyer now handle will ne man anti say nipa ne wu. How will the family retrieve or be able to share the properties? Edasi.
Yeah, I think it's a very good question. Normally, say, will more be a. Answer me, say most of the time, your money panel a copy or the coffee or the goshen in Yamam. We have a reason for that. That should be say a shen nipan in Yamamua, we only better who saw will. The other thing is that says our copy the crane niwa. So Bagana, anybody be it me fairly search. Our high courts, let me actual in Krata, Akoma High Court say, oh, High Court, Mr. Munsha Munkrata will say, Auntie Cecilia, our will will now. And Amushamu Krata will say, oh, Cloud Willie and Son, our will be now. So we can always file a search on anybody at the High Court. It's me filing search our High Court. Now say a will, that is why your money panel copy or the coffee. And in two ways of knowing say nipana your will. Say first, say a file search and a nipana your will. The search will show say nipana why your will, and this is the timer or your will no. Now search garbage share nipa the will number 2 courtroom. In the search never says any money. The other thing is a copy na the manner or the coffee, you know. Now that copy no yes silly be and I will receipt this one yeah they count receipts na yenya from High Court so account until anytime there will be you can see say way and I will way for deposit or High Court you call deposit or High Court the date way and I call deposit and a way and I call deposit will no. So all the details no the copy of the will any money panel the coffee and the search will also bring it up. And this is clear that's a fire.
Yo, lawyer, are properties inherited by one of the spouses from his or her parents, legally or customary, permitted in a will?
Yes. Once you inherited a property, in fact, it's an inheritance, or personal property, no. Once it is not, and yet for once the key thing is that you can inherit property, you can even be gifted properties. Once papa it becomes a personal property now. Ubet when they share will. Papa will no or the fear ma also will. Ubet when the self so things that you have inherited, whether anybody free and I say gift intervivals, no, they become personal property into ubet when they share will. The key thing is that wills prefer to self-acquire. And yes, I would do gifts also are part, inheritances all become your personal property. The test is that were they properties you could have alienated, and I said you could have sold during your lifetime. Once you had those tests, you could have done that. Generally, no, we classify them as self-acquired property. Nana, me say.
Yanko Obi Honomo na mensan embra back to the chat room. Obi, Bacho, go ahead and ask or meet yourself in a busa question. Hello, Obi.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, you.
Yeah.
It's on Kappa.
Yeah. Can you will a property you have built on a family land or a family property to your children? For example, you are the head of the family and the land is there. You put up a building on it. Can you will that building to your children or your wife?
Okay. Very clear.
Right. Okay, Nana, a very good question, Wabi-san. Very important question. Many people are surprised to know, say, who could sit down and see family land. The word is family land. Sometimes in family lands, in to meet it loses the family character of it. Now it becomes your personal land. But as a family land, it is still family land. Now see a dynasty you have near friend life interest. And just interest are our diner we see our family land. So no, it is just for your lifetime. So you can't pass it on to your children. Your interest on it terminates with your death. So once you build on family land, and I want us to know that Michelle, family land, you only have life interest in. And see, Braobi, Sasaseno a family land, and away sit down. Yes, while you are alive, you are entitled to it. But you can't pass it on to your children. It becomes family property. Into the new head of family, he will decide how those properties will be shared or administered. My advice to people is that, yes, sometimes family our land the family ma land in your name for you, so that it will move from a family land in just in family members but once it is shared and they say aha so that it becomes woo property. It's like a gift from your family. But if it stays family land, now see a dime or so. You only have life interest. So your interest is terminated, so you can't pass it on to your children. Browby, need I say?
Yo, lawyer, meda say any maminfa we and so enka. I think it links to Braobi's question. What about properties acquired jointly by one spouse with a sibling or siblings, parent, or a friend? Can it be considered personal property?
Yes, and it's so acquired property when you be emphasis when you are down for me. What is called market property? Most of the time, no, a tenancy in common. I won't have time. I met church all the terms. Most of the time, we prefer tenancy in common to joint tenancies. Joint tenancies, no problem. The other person takes all the 100%. But so only we're down for a top property, the presumption is a tenancy in common. A property no water who are 50% home. We're down for no 50% home. 50% now woman. You can will your 50% to your children. You can will it to be BR. And it's about joint properties. Your share in it, you can always will your share in it to other people. If one is means 4 of you have bought a property, and each of you is entitled to 25% of the value of that property. With 25% now, you can do a will passing on your 25% interest to your wife, your children, your parents. You can do a will passing with 25% interest. And the same thing applies to companies. Wills in there a very broad topic. I can't cover the BR, but if I say there's a company who shares our company, you have 30% shares in the company. Those things also are personal property. And they see personal properties are and yet a dining shares in companies. All of those things are classified as properties. You have even intellectual property or some copyright. And all of those other things, they all qualify as personal properties. You can will them to whoever you want to will them. That's it.
Yo, yenko na yenfa ama any obi assignment so no minim say be your sample person bisa question but yenfa ama first. Ama mbacho yeti.
Pamucho, good evening. Lawyer Yedawasi, won't you more the my now, me question a 2 parts, maybe the first one answer. The who if ye me fancy if a dime will crum her. Now, because of inheritance tax, nini mana won't work a canon. Me pese me bisa say, now someone was saying say, enka it's best to add a woman adding a mortgage, so me pese my first question is so. Is it? I need advice on that. Is it okay to just add their names? And now say, is it okay? Someone too was telling me about you can sell it to their children for £1. I don't know how far it's true. But a bad law, dear me, patrominim, a basa property. I don't know. And I just want you to advise me as to which one is best.
Okay. And let me quickly give this caveat on this. I'm not very familiar with the UK law on this one. So maybe I make caveat on UK law, no, it will just be a general advice.
Okay. Oh.
Okay. But generally, so sure, you can do a gift in terms of channel, what's the amount, but I don't know what the gift tax. UK TTR. Also, there are taxes on gifts.
Yeah, one for inheritance tax.
So with inheritance tax, it's different. Now, and maybe there's so Ghana there's a 3% tax on this thing. Maybe at that time, no, in Ghana, no, all your estates, no, you will still pay an inheritance tax on it. Your friend estate duty is 3% of the value of the estate. But what you are saying, your friend is what you while you are alive, and that's what your mudin air to so while you are alive. You will need to check what the UK law says on. As I now know, I'm not very familiar with what the UK law says on this one.
Okay, me that's it. Me patro mami fa unko Ghana se me do for UK. The who will feel Ghana. Now it's in when you husband demon. Now person who will ma. How do you go about it?
Okay, and the same way I mean mono. Say more joint property. Ewo woni wukunu ewo mo demo. And just we share a woman will be half of it, it'll be 50%. And so we will you can only will the 50%. You can't will everything to your children. You're entitled to just 50% of it. And to 50% now, you can always will that one to your children. And so we sure will we have how we would capture it. And so my shares or my 50% interest in this, my interest in this property, so and so, no, I give to waiting. When in your will, no, we can make provision for that. But it is limited to what your interest will be 50%. And to wait me there, no, I'm a woman. It has.
Okay. Nampacho say, it be a woman, bibi wo fie na men kasa bia wo ma na husband ni kunu newu but our ma no person your will do you also can you support on that?
Oh yes, it will be a ones nipa no person on throw will once on who you know we can always write the will. Any property be you can do all of this.
Okay.
Yes, last time I did a will over your Europe or by Ghana. And so about visit, see your person will. Why not? Minute nasty. A will near you yes, sign BBR with witnesses, you will be an editor to high court. Within the copy man is okay, we'll call Europe. And at any point in time, no, Ebe will say you have a will deposited in Ghana. It is possible. Thank you.
Okay. Me patro, my last question. Me patro, me here with details. Now patro, what discount be for yeah, now being on TAPTAP now. What discount be my now? Because my lawyers no mo pocket me hard pa into the say over my discount to be because I want to patronize you. Into patro, me here on number.
Now contact before we end the show, you put his details on the chat in the chat room. Now me are contacting later on. Like my main fa question way. Am I that say for your question I would buy? My main fa question way. I think that as soon as possible, I say share our rear under the eyes of the law. Ebusia for mame and yet disclaimer we say any program ya hwe no ebano Ghana law nyame yaduma I will bring another lawyer near hwe no ebia UK and elsewhere but our focus when we are talking about wills now we are talking about Ghana law. All right, lawyer we used to say or say Ninuya ketua efiri mu ena ono ene di na de nana Ninuya ketua no had a wife but with no children. He had another lady married under the customary law with 3 children, and he and the woman na wa ware na onini ni ba no omo esi edan 6-bedroom house na womo share of the dino mamina na onina warrior onini ni bano onya about 60% of a fee no 65% of the fee no na ono or inherity ni younger brother or feel say that percentage a call mamina no worry na onini ni bano too much na obusa say obetimi a contest sa case yana.
Okay, and some of these issues, so we need to look at all the circumstances surrounding it before it means direct advice on it. But generally, say obi ewoba miche winshe say enya wari enye awari. So that person is not a spouse. She'll be entitled to what she go to a spouse. But sometimes, so maybe property now all can have some a joint property. Ebi akɔhwɛ nkrataa na ni bra any obaro omumienu din ena eda so mumienu din eda property ne so a get say obaro already has 50% of it ni bra no so 50% already enti obaro won 50 dada na ebe chano ni bra ni 50% na ewo ho. That is what is going to be shared. Enti some of these things if we look at all the circumstances surrounding it and I bet me actually say this is the way to handle masa on it. Papa no so ewo in madada. Let's say papa no 50% Obana ne mano they already entitled to about 9/16 of it, which is for all the children. And then the mano the money they entitled to 9/16. So I make sure at the start of the program. And just straightforward question. Once I contact a lawyer, we look at all the circumstances around it, then we can advise appropriately. And I mean asking.
Yo, mamenfa obi enso entwa eto ewa obi mpacho yetio.
Yo, lawyer mpacho obi ewo ema miensa na wesi fie wan sheda anye were na mo se fie no ye ne mano edia se ne mano so mienu ewu ena aka obako na mienu na ewu nso no omo wo ema meaning say a grandchildren of nia osifie no say nia waka na otiase no ofele say efie no once ani nua no mewu no abene dia but omo mewu nso ma no so fele say parents and papa was shares if you need to say no almost so man say claim part of if you know. Is it say how do we handle this very issue? That's it.
Okay. Me that's a panana question way also section 16 of a PNDC law 111 it addresses this issue. If any grandchildren of intestate. As about the issue of grandchildren, yes, grandchildren say, say, meaning now, no, they can inherit, papa share in that property now. But I will share how the law is written. That's what the law says. Very quickly, make time run very quickly. Say by a child who is a grandchild, intestate. The grandchild is entitled if that child is dependent on the intestate at the time of death. All the grandchildren will have to show this there. At the time, papa free mono, not on no and also. So they have to show dependency on their father. Once they can show dependency, their father's share will devolve to them. So the grandchildren can take over the interest of their father in the estate. Just that they have to show dependency on their late father at the time of death.
All right, my family miensa bi enka ho na yemfa this section embrawie ora A class I ready na ono nso ede TAPTAP sen focus section no ede atwa so ede amayen be breakout room honomo enso obeto akoto yen team members no honomo or any issue with your TAPTAP send app okohonoma obeboa na wa support you pepepe enti misrewa yenhye nso ma memfa enipa ba ku mienu bi emfa nto aso I'm at Abusan a question. Yemfa Cecilia. Ma Cecilia Mpacho EATO.
Yo, lawyer Mpacho, person me bisa say, o papa si a dancy a bushing sasso. Na wanye well. Nasi wu na bushing person modi assassin. Which me Buddha and you go more for my sassy.
What the other? Man,
Which me Buddha and you go more for my sassy. And mammy.
Lawyer, lawyer, Asemia. Lawyer,
so Usha Mramua, I was a Michelle said, once Papa see that ewo ebusian assassin so Papa no our dear friend life interest. The very day Papa wuno say fi no any dey bio. Ebusian it's family property after the death of your father. And so ko now go say fi na ebusian pen Bema police are sure. Because that property upon the death of your father, no, your father has no interest again. It's now left to the family. I say, ebusian property and I will destroy no. In Chinese say the obet me wa famra crying so. Into unto go bubu so papa ni ha. Me da say.
Oh yeah, me ti wasi o ba so mo claim say asase me your mo de nya dan ni mo na your mo de.
Na so usha the definition of asase ewo mramono. Asase no be BSC so be ani asase any dia no. Maybe another time I will explain it. Once you own the land, near ewo so be unless there is an agreement to the contrary. So without a contrary agreement, near asase any dia no. Say if you 10 bedroom there was what nipa na asase any dia if you any dia. Unless there is a contrary agreement to that. So papa wu person and then person umbubu dan and there make sure say obebu no before papa bewu. And so we say maybe we say papa you say time on the hospital. We shall come after 2 weeks means before bewu. So who the property in there. Your father's interest is life interest. On his death, no determination. That's what happens. Yeah, and the
Anya will assemble my me assemble of king assembly ba. Me nka area ko sa ifi no ewo adan ewo Accra. Adan bi wa Accra. A huge story building. I just say it can be like office complex. Cra. Na ekoba se asase no na eye oba ne dia. E na owari ni kunu. Ena eye oba ne die ntina be yom nyina dia but oba ne di na wa asase ne so ena be man aba be see a huge office complex esiso onwieye akaka kra bi no awie ena awarija ya ba oba ne so ogina asase be man me yi ne dan emfiri so sase mo mbende
very complex. Property property assassin woman who was before war and say no matrimonial property.
And also one
that one very complex. And such issues, resolving them is difficult, very difficult. Sometimes we will quantify the man's investment in the property. If I say, sure, I didn't also, Papa, no, the 1 million cedis and all the dino. So we quantify whatever his investment is worth. And then we will look at how to work around it. But it's very difficult. Maybe another time we'll say, we'll talk about divorce. Because sometimes some property settlement in divorce matters are complex. So sometimes we tell people that if people are married, how you go about property, there's a way to go about property. No, that is not what we want. But we tell people, say, when it's with property, send a ebeya said BBC BBC and no but things should be arranged properly just in case something happens. We have a way to handle the property. Since maybe another time we can talk about properties.
I mean, last two questions now. Me for insi hanum is answer oko I mean baby as our console. Like, yes, a DA and a bit me ama will and I invalid. And a DA so now bit me I say this will is done properly or improperly.
Very good question. But I mean, I say, the invalidity of wills. There are many things it makes wills invalid. Niama big brave. So, I'm running now. You'll be afraid of Wills Act. As also Wills Act, Rabia Eshisha Chepa around 1971, Divisana, Eshisha Wills Act, Act 360. Social Wills Act, a shell choir, your first would be a will. Namima, an example. So be your wheeler. Number one, they say, Nipana or your will, no. So beside will now, there should be at least 2 attesting witnesses. Nipa minu. Time all sign will no. I was saying nkofo minu. Omunjina no omunhu so sign will no. Enti se me prepare will in my office. Se ba the signing of the will. Me fa will in my se fa ko fika sign bra. Nkofo no be witness no. Me mo mu ba the office. Sometimes you can my lawyers, your witnesses. They have to see you signing the will. And now you have to acknowledge your signature in their presence. And me na me sign will. So who you no so no. They have to write their names on the will and sign. They have to sign say the 2 of them should be there at the same time. So 1 year we are the will is invalid. Everybody say sign enumerate and I also we by also now we will hand me sign to me signature near it is invalid. The 2 witnesses should be there at the same time when the will is being signed. Indeed, this is very important. Them making of wills. The 2 attesting witnesses, they should be there in each other's presence at the same time. We are will no. Now so we are will so. Everybody say, upe say mistake be what will no. Will into say class work out to make cancel. If you make any alteration in the will, so Section 5 of the Wills Act, any alteration in the will, it should be executed in the same way you execute will. And you find yourself who cancel the view our will more. While we are will near fellow testator, the testator has to sign. The attesting witnesses also have to sign. Into wills there, near member wills here invalid, no dear a big gray. You won't be walker. They cannot be a witness to the will. Some people can't witness. They are beneficiaries under the will. There are a lot of things that Emma will invalid. And see, say you for the invalidity of will, the near money they endorse but the major thing also we share attesting witnesses. No, there should be at least 2 attesting witnesses that they should be there in each other's presence when you are signing the will. And that is what I'm speaking in relation to the laws of Ghana. Thank you, Fernanda.
My last question from Letty na the session way about area. Letty Mbacho yetio.
Yo, Mbacho lawyer nena mo bia good evening. Mbacho lawyer say ade wo kan ye no. Witnesses na ya omo be sign. Omo so be wo hobi. Omo betimi akoka like enyama we will ni achre obi wa bontiana. How will you deal with that issue, please? Thank you.
Okay. Until it's me that say normally no say your wills are confirm your witnesses no. Will they don't see the content of the will. Okay. The only thing you need to know is say near will sign no a will and what the account to witness a will. But as to the content of the will, no, we don't disclose the content to them. They only witness the execution, the sign of the will pen. But that's how it works.
That's
yo. Like I say, and I think the questions in a bar neighbor, and so no, Emreno, Hanomo, and Yadi ABC. Na yetimi agile lawyer why busy pa ne kame can't baby o free bands and was enya time amanya ka program ke masokra na so nyame adom make it time to join us on this evening to share his knowledge, insight when it comes to wills. Ede Amaye. Lawyer, mene ahwefo ene abusuafo nyina ka se yeda ase bebre sa bre ni abre nyina no ye frewa oba ene e ba betwetwe nkomo ni mu lawyer mesrewa ebre bamu a aware ho nsem e ba Ghana law no pacho ye ntwetwe ho nkomo pa is say sometimes no mate se customary marriage no oye wi a na san akwa court de na court de no etwa eye efie die ni mu ye behwe sa ensensem ni nyina obi ho no ma oni ne yire omakwa court de no asan akonya akanchema bi no apa busuafo kakra bi no makwa ye ne ho ade oni sese ye ne yire which one ene ya aware na ye hwe ni nyina na ye nka ho asem eni nti ye beda ase na nwumre ye be stress obema ye o last comment na fe ye de wasi hanom now the contact details see pese ye ne o atwetwe nkomo a ekwan be ene ye be fa so ebenyaw ne no atwetwe nkomo na legally what my advice when it comes to wills.
Nanami na sepa maminda wase nami that all the participants are on more programming so maminda mu na ase nana pese me kan bibi me ma me bia pese me na sepa honest obi bia our programming so me ma me bia or London or Kent me na sepa ye friend Mama Lucy ye friend Madam Lucy Kumi me na sepa so me ba on no man baby a me dani bibi a on me dani bibi a so bibi a o share program here o name Auntie Lucy Madam Lucy Kumi dana se catch and say ni ba Richmond si dana se pa me dana se pa na ne me try to say I encourage everybody to say write a will maybe another time no make us about trust any bibi a friend gift intervivals. There are also ways you can share your properties but I'll tell you the pros and cons of all of these things. But at the very least, no, we encourage you to be as a write a will. It minimizes family dispute. Why a whole property? Send open no chening na. Upese watare red. Yemfama mature will musem. Me atare red no car blue no pesen ko kujo. If you know near is legal no eno ko makofi. Share the things. It's your property. Exercise the right to share it how you want. So one year will not that you only what and then talk what be see sometimes one say who will fear 5 but one say woman will be a that if they go fear and one will be a pet. But once you do a will you minimize all of these disputes. I encourage everybody to write a will. Thank you so much Namisha God bless you. Thank you. Bye bye then.
Laya oka semi o hai ka be ba be ka jere se ahaya wa kan die den ya Mama Lucy obete anche ena ye sister e dia ba be to ase oye na danfo pa intimigiri so be kwa ka kire no intimi ye pa se ba o china Mama Lucy obete won kra no obete
Nana lawyer details no
I'm pa jo ko chat room ma to me the contact details at all no ubetimi a contact lawyer at any point in time na afi omo detailed advice when it comes to Ghana laws and I say about wills and so lawyer why crowd obe assisting I mean insha obibia you abusha for meda obibia asese enenso munya ebre ede ema ye na ye nyina ye hia na yesua ade nyame eyadoma emrepam no mesan de lawyer ba na ya twetwe enkomo efa aware bano Ghana laws na de hin ena ya aware na de hin na nya aware de hin ni twa ebimu se wuye we na be ma na oba no so fa kire ekoye bibi fofora de hin ena ya aware kan pa emrebamu a ye de lawyer beba na ya san atwetwe sa enkomo no mesrew se wo call yi so na se uni ye OT media platform WhatsApp platform no so me say I will beat me add click a link am dia to chat room so na wa join it a platform we keep you updated when ever ye babe program bia na ye send you update or no na kai wo wait me add join yen and it me say wa beat me add click a link no so na wa join OT media WhatsApp platform no we will keep you updated abreni na yo sabre de me dane me honoma fan krato bako ye ba ura A class ebetina egwam no de TAPTAP focus section no no e de atoa so e de aman saa so na maybe breakout room 1 na nsan de mani age pa enkofo entai enya problems when it comes to the TAPTAP send account ye da mo ase pa na nso no and they may be breakout room no for a few minutes na wo any issue be team no members ni bi be ho na wako breakout room 1 me dane me ho abasisia
be feeling so me pound and out young and I was me talk about congrats I was so no okay was so no
eh and then I met na enye me okay producer me pacho mami advert bako. All right, my menya A-class co-host Ewa Hanamona Yen Twaso A-class. Mr. Momami Sima Bako na me emfa adverting twemna for A-class emfa ni aka nyina entwaso emfa emaye Ewa Hanamo. Bomodia say on joining
Nantechwa emre bia discover for Europe akoma busuafo wo Ghana no me use tap send no fee mobile money transfer easy convenient fast and sounds so free tua hwe me discover ye mapim tap send entienne also download the TAPTAP send app no ewo mobile phone so free na fesika komo abusuafo wo Ghana fa na nyina TAPTAP send Papa no.
Tap mpenyimfo your friend Mrs. Charity Sebeche mi na hada mo asepa wo mo achali amode bread your Mother's Day no ye da mo asinya mi nhira mo na TAPTAP and we are not going to stop sending it. We send it all the time and may God bless you all ye da mo ase.
Yo, abusia for Sabre Ora A-class A take over now or the TAPTAP send focus session no e dey abrain sa enso na maybe breakout room 1 so was specific issue with your TAPTAP send account and honso ubetimi alcohol no and team members no ebi ohonma they will be able to assist you but at this point Ora A-class so mu ewa ha emai
for Yedem Namasi say, Dano Libian Mania Kama. Any lawyer, Yamin Sharpa, send so Odi Ebi Ababigu Amaye, Yenny so baby, Yami and Sharpa. I don't for more me a chakra, I also be away there. Some radio, someone money chatted that free for all, but you need man over to me. Me too, so what question and I say what suggestion and I say anything be our full say wait me about TAPTAP send in pacho pini di mano wait me at the aba amai timbawacho pi wow question na bia no pacho wait me the aba amai ne etwegum kama Auntie Liz pacho wait me do odia no aba amai
Yo couple of women and she mama kwaba. Baby amoko ye bia ye de radiasis for the mo be drasum dream. Mo ana mo home famon she de radiasis for some yare. Na na de masem ni tietia ejatire mu nia ba credit biba. Me say na ade na to de bia mama customer service wo mo supervisors ni bi nsuema any meetings I was so severe, you better to know them like we know you. Because we free, I didn't call breakout room that last week me call ye radiadum. Ura Daniel ne urebi me money din wa. Romo boy me come out my short me problem ne out. But just ne hackers in intino. Ya na unyi ni penny papa. Intinyo bi a unimu na Papa ni say me ma ne ho chiri ni ye. Me am timi wo say me drele na ankasa. Enti no mesremo etre bia moma customer service supervisors ne bi nso mra ne hu wo mo se be ya unya problem bi na eja ye kromufu yi bi take over na oyobi a onimu no. Masim tietia mdamase.
All right. That's it. We'll work on that, and we'll revert very soon. So on it one patch up.
Na aka samba ko minim say wallet adwuma. Will be the me aso ahwe me modin na eje obi ankoda ne ka me hu say work papa na da be ne baby atuma ma One promise me, one de me kanyina will be a bit trianica. Because me who say futures no home, so I don't know say if it's functioning. Liti a pejanin sa what the mecano no bet you at my wallet na wallet intimi pacho. Yeah, Juma na say yeah Juma.
Obi o yike bi aro odo karakas on pinu.
Atilisi.
Yes, Liti. What dear Damuna water, mammy, dear dear.
Don't worry, why? You try to pay. Only how.
Me how at all, I know.
But the thing is, let's check who up one radio. You might have it, but we know so what. But what you want show you to be Master opinion man ubi up now. Where's my phone? So be up now front of it, Once I see on them before you see the charity and the pay bills and the rest, before that, most wallet once you see that, then yeah. So good.
They are also sent to a family member or friend's wallet in the UK.
Perfect. So now, either so what pound wallet that I'm a
yeah.
Perfect. So once you have the pound wallet, just click on the pound wallet and so.
Okay.
Please, you can just follow us. It's being demonstrated. Me who began before that. I can share my but who be that is here. But click on the pound wallet. Go onto the wallet, Then you see the send and I think
more.
Send and add funds,
add money, send and then more. That's it.
So go to send,